everyone, good morning from this side of the world and welcome back to our channel, my Kiwinoy fam. If this is your first time in our channel, then please don't forget to click that subscribe button and hit the bell so you don't miss any of our videos. But if you are wondering what our channel is all about, before you do click that subscribe button, we share videos about New Zealand, the places to see here, things to do, what it is like to live here, life as a migrant, as well as the practices, culture, and also the language difference, and some random unboxing videos, as well as some of the most special events in our lives. So if this is something that interests you, then please by all means do click that subscribe button and share it to your family and friends as well. I'm sure that anyone who is currently living overseas would agree with me when I say that moving to a different country is like turning your life around 360 degrees. You are going into something that is very different, somewhere wherein you don't know anyone, somewhere you are basically a stranger, and somewhere where anything and almost everything is unknown and unpredictable. It can make or break you. But in a world that's full of uncertainties, there is definitely one thing that is certain about moving to a different country, that it teaches you a lot of lifelong lessons. I can go on and on and on and come up with a very big list of the lessons that I've learned since moving to New Zealand. But if I were to pick one that is most valuable and most important lesson personally for me that I've learned since moving to a different country, since living here in New Zealand, it would be humility. So why humility? I am not saying that I wasn't humble before living in New Zealand. Well, I think I was even before we moved here. But I am talking about humility or being humble in an entire different level, in an entire different way. Humility is such a big word, but I think we all look at it and interpret it in such a narrow way or in such a small way. I think more often than not, when we talk about humility or being humble, we all think that it is very limited to not being boastful or not being arrogant, when in fact there is a lot around humility. Well, before moving to New Zealand, I was already a registered nurse back home in the Philippines, and in my mind, my vision, my mindset was that for me to move here to New Zealand to live with our parents, do a bridging course here to be able to gain my nursing registration and then work as a nurse. And also in my mindset, it won't take me a long time to be able to get my registration here in New Zealand. But of course, I was totally wrong, and that entire plan was scrapped in just a blink of an eye. So when I moved here to New Zealand and tried to apply for my nursing registration through the nursing council, I was rejected the first time and was given a couple of options for me to be able to gain that registration. But first of all, why was I rejected? I didn't have enough years of experience back in the Philippines. So the minimum years of experience required for you to be able to apply for your nursing registration here in New Zealand is 2 years. And I only had a year of nursing experience. So that scrapped everything. So like I said, they gave me a couple of options. The first option was to study nursing again here, which would take me 3 years. And the other option was for me to go back to the Philippines, get another year of nursing experience, come back to New Zealand and apply again through the nursing council. So of course, I went for the easier option, which is option 2, to go back home, get some more experience, come back and apply for the nursing council. If you look at it, it sounds very easy, right? But then I wasn't able to go back home straight away because of our visa restrictions. So with our visa, we had to stay in New Zealand for a straight 2 years before we can move out of New Zealand for more than 6 months. So that's what I had to do. For 5 years here in New Zealand, I was working with the Golden Arches or McDonald's.
So sweet, the scent is all around my head.
Yep, so for the first years of my life here in New Zealand, I went from envisioning myself to working as a nurse in a hospital to working as a crew in a fast food chain. And did I regret any of those years at all? The answer is definitely no. So I started working in McDonald's as a crew back in 2013, and to add to the color of the story, I was working as a lobby crew. So I would go around the lobby, clean the tables, wipe down the trays, change the rubbish bins, and when the store is about to shut, I would then sweep, do the mop, clean the toilets, wipe down the doors, wipe down the windows. All of those things that I never imagined in my entire life that I would be doing as a job after university. But I did. And again, did I regret any of those? The answer is no. So for the first few months, I was working as a crew, and then I was moved up to becoming a crew trainer 6 months after. After becoming a crew trainer, of course, I didn't stop there, but instead I tried to push myself forward, and I worked my hardest to climb up the ladder of management until I became a shift manager, and then eventually a department manager looking after the customer service side, and eventually the production and inventory side. My first 5 years in New Zealand wasn't exactly what I imagined and what I envisioned it to be, but it was exactly what I needed it to be. The management and also working in McDonald's, and it helped me adjust and settle in this new country smoother and a lot quicker. It also helped me understand the culture, the practices, and the language in the country, as well as how to deal with the locals here. And also by working in McDonald's, I was able to gain a lot of transferable skills, highlighting the management and leadership side. And above all, I gained a lot of lifelong friends by working in McDonald's. And not just friends, but these are friends that turn into family. And for me, that is one thing that is irreplaceable. It's incomparable, it's not worth any money, and it is definitely something to be treasured for. And therefore, after everything that I've just said and shared, living in a different country definitely taught me the virtue of humility, being humble that is beyond not just being arrogant. It taught me to focus on the present and to be grateful for what I have now, which is why in those days when I was working in McDonald's, even though I still wanted to become a nurse at the end, I pushed myself and worked my hardest to make my way up to management because I was focusing on the present and spending my time and energy on that rather than thinking of what could have been. And also, there wasn't a day in my life working in McDonald's that I wasn't grateful for what I have. Even though it wasn't my ideal job, again, like I said before, I was able to gain loads of things from working with McDonald's. And especially because all of those were things that money can't buy. So I guess the message that I really wanted to send across you all is that if you live or move to a different country, be prepared and flexible to changes, especially when it comes to your profession and to the job. You may be a supervisor back home, but then when you move to a different country, you may have to start right at the bottom of the ladder. And again, we should learn to accept that, focus on the present, be grateful for what you have, and work your way up. Again, it is all about being humble and practicing humility. And besides, at the end of the day, it is not always about what you do for work or the figure that you make. Rather, it is all about the impact that you create to the people around you and the person that you become in the process of trying to become the person that you want to be. And this is where I'm ending this video, guys. I hope that somehow, some way, it created an impact to you. And if you are someone who's needing to hear something to lift them up today, don't worry if things are not going your way or not going according to plan. Just remember, things do get better. Just hang in there. Focus on the present and be grateful for what you have. Humility can go a very long way. I'll see you guys on our next video. Bye!